community. So again, I'm super excited today to have Damon Caldwell as part of our Rock U training. He is going to talk to us all the strategies on how to master expired listings in 2024. Strategies he's using, his team's using. Just super excited to get this information, you guys, to be able to add maybe another lead gen pillar to your business. Maybe something that you can start implementing into your business to help you reach your goals this year for your business. So, Damon, before we dive in, can you give us just a quick background of, all your experience and what you're currently doing today?
Well, so I've been in real estate now for 6 months, man. It's been an amazing journey, and I've been in real estate for about 23 years. 23 years in July, and the gray hairs are setting in. So,
Wow.
but we're still kicking strong, and I've been a broker for many years with Realty One Group. I was a corporate broker, regional manager for Las Vegas. Many people know that, and was with one of the two other larger brokerages here in Las Vegas, and built my business, built a couple of teams over the years, and a couple of years ago, I think about the 2-year anniversary, I bought a mega team here in Las Vegas and stepped out of the broker role, just looking for additional opportunity and different path to my career. So it's been exciting. Definitely a lot of moving parts, but we're having a good time.
Yeah, no, definitely. And congratulations on 23 years coming up. That's a milestone right there.
Yeah, for sure. It's crazy when you think back, 23 years in real estate. So,
Where did the time go?
oh yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Well, let's dive right in. Talk to us about expired listings and strategies that you've found to work and that you've implemented into your business and teams.
Yeah, for sure. If I can share my screen, I have a little slide deck.
Yes.
Nothing real sexy for lack of better terms, but
Jocelyn, are you able to it's not letting me make him co-host.
Let me see. Got it.
we're good.
There we
Beautiful.
go. Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you.
All right, let me get to my slideshow here, and I'll just go over some best practices that I've used in the past. And I'm sure you guys have some stuff that you are doing if you guys are doing expireds. I don't know if anybody is, but of course, there's the chat, and love for you guys to share as well any strategies you're using. But these are I'm going to go over my program, my expired program. We train our team on a regular basis on these on expireds and other programs as well. Other ways of lead generating, of course. Expireds, just a quick backstory. 23 years in the business, but as a brand new agent, 23 years ago, I actually jumped into expired listings. That was my first real source of business, which is, you don't see that every day, especially with newer agents. But when I went to a training class and they said, hey, there's people that actually want to sell right now today, that was it for me. That's all I needed to hear. I immediately went to the drawing board, started practicing my scripts, getting my arms wrapped around, connecting with expired listings. And actually, that was my first listing that I took as a brand new agent, the first listing that I sold as a brand new agent. And then I just launched several different programs I'll share with you today. It's not all going to be in the slide deck, but we'll have a great conversation. And just over the years, different things that worked for me, whether phone calling, mailing, marketing packages, things of that nature. In the world of social media now, of course, you have some other additional opportunities with social media, QR codes and things to connect. But this is a great little quote. The difference between winning and losing is most often not quitting, right? So let's make sure we don't quit. Walt Disney. And so this is Las Vegas stats, and you guys all have access to your own MLS data. This is where we're at for 2023 with expired listings. So when you see these kind of numbers, you're like, wow, what great opportunity there is in people that want to sell their home that failed, whether the first time around or possibly even the second time around. So 6,299 expired listings through 2023 in the Las Vegas market. That's 6,299 opportunities. 2024 so far, there's 1,285, right? So for the first five months of the year, give or take. And in last month, we had 307 expired listings alone. So there's plenty of opportunity out there. That was something that I really tracked a lot with expired listings was, how many were coming and going on a daily basis. And of course, usually at the end of the month is when most of the expired will hit. Most listing agents will date their expired listings to be at the end of the month. All right. So this is just something I share, and I know we have broker managers. I have been one as well, where, you have a call night, right? And you show up and you get a script and you call expireds. And the reality of it is, hopefully you have good success, with that event. But most of the time it's a one-time deal and it doesn't impact your business, right? You don't continue on, you're not consistent with it. So what I focus on is, a consistent plan of attack with expired listings, but first starting with, what do sellers want from the real estate agent? And it's important because this is the messaging, everything we do is about the messaging, that we're sending out to the consumer, the potential client. And so this is NAR's 2022 buyers and sellers generational trends of what sellers are really looking for. Now, when you look at this and you start talking about marketing, whether to a farm or, potential sellers or expired listings we're talking about today, it's important that this is included in your messaging because this is what they're looking for from a real estate agent. Right? So help pricing home competitively, right? Help seller market home to potential buyers, help to sell the home within a specific time frame, help seller find ways to fix up the home to sell it for more, and help find a buyer for the home, help with negotiation and dealing with buyers, help with paperwork, inspections, preparing for settlement, help sellers see homes available to purchase, and help create a post video, help create and post videos to provide tour of their home. Right, so that's really important for me. I focus a lot on the questions that the seller has, right? The consumer, what's important to them, and that's where your messaging should start. That's where you start focusing your messaging. All right. So another part of expireds for me was mindset. Right, and I know a lot of us know this in everything we do every day. That mindset really is everything. You can be great at scripts and all that good stuff, but if your mind's not right, usually you're set up for failure right out of the gate. So for me, doing expires, best practices are to make sure you get up, do some exercise. If you're a reader, read, meditate. Eat a healthy breakfast. If you eat breakfast, right, you'll remove all distractions and practice scripts. So this was a morning routine for me to be ready to tackle expired listings and be prepared to schedule appointments and fight hard to get my to ultimately get my share of those expired listings. So identifying expired listing sources, many of you guys already know where to get expired listings. I think this is one of the most important things to start off on the right foot with expireds. Your local MLS will have expireds, but the reality of it is usually there's no contact information for you to reach the seller. Right? So you can't usually get the phone number out of the local MLS. So if you're going to, and you might have Rock Title or somebody providing you with an expired list. I provide an expired list to my team. However, the reality of it is you're going to do expireds on a high level. You're going to want access really to your own platform because you're going to want to be able to dive in first thing in the morning and start making connections, right? I believe our local MLS doesn't release it here in Las Vegas, at least doesn't release expireds until like 9 a.m. And by that time, you're already 20 people in, right, on the phone. And so when you're calling, it's, man, you guys are everybody's calling me, whatever time frame you feel is going to be best to start calling. You're going to have agents that start calling at 7 a.m., 8 a.m. But that will be part of your success if you're going to pick up the phone and call. We'll talk a little bit more about marketing to expireds. I'm a old school kind of guy, and I do believe picking up the phone is the fastest, easiest, and most effective way to get in touch with somebody, to be more proactive than waiting for them to reach out to you. So RedX is very popular, guys. If you haven't checked out RedX, it's on the lower side of the cost. For expireds, I want to say it's right around $40 a month to get the expired list every day. right? Landvoice still provides, expireds as well as FIZ, but for sale by owners. Vulcan 7 is probably your highest, your highest performer in the expired listing world. It is, I want to say it's about $350 a month for Vulcan 7, but it comes with a dialer and very, very efficient. We have several of our team members that use Vulcan 7 and have great success with it. So if you're looking for a dialer and a system that really is at the top of the food chain, Vulcan 7 would be that one. So you guys do need to find, you want to identify a program that provides expired listings every day, so you can touch them every day, right, as soon as possible. All right, so you'll of course focus on why properties expire. This again is going to be part of your communication with that potential seller, right? Usually they're overpriced. We know that expired listings, most of the time, most things will sell at the right price, right? If a property expires, proper price is probably going to be at the top of that list. The next aspect would be price, presentation, and promotion. If it was priced within market range, and it just wasn't presented properly, right? Wasn't marketed properly. The condition of the property wasn't sufficient enough to bring a ready, willing, able buyer and an offer to the table. Then these would be things that you're looking at to having a conversation with the seller. And we'll talk about some of the scripts and questions you'll ask along these lines here in a minute. But so seller terms and or conditions, right? If the seller has strict terms, they can only show the property at certain times, or they have a tenant in place and there's nobody that they are unable to show the property. We've come out of a market where a lot of people are writing offers sight unseen in an aggressive seller's market, but a lot of times sellers terms and or conditions could be the reason why they didn't get as many showings or as much interest in that property. Right? The poor and non-existent marketing plan, which will be one of your hot topics, right? That's going to be one of the things you're as an agent, you'll be focused on what you can do better, what you do different and outside the box, to market properties to help sellers get their homes sold. And usually this is where you'll find most of the chink in the armor for the agents, is that they just didn't do a great job of marketing the property. And this is where you can really leverage your marketing strategies to win that listing. Errors in the MLS, we see that a lot of times, only one photo, or no photo, poor photos, one photo. So this is just the research part of, why this property didn't sell. Not properly highlighting the upgrades and features of the property, possibly not putting the correct information in the MLS. I see a lot of times where, there's a property with RV boat parking and they don't have it in the MLS as RV boat parking. So it gets missed, right, as buyers are doing their search. So want to identify really the reasons why, listings expire, of course, and leverage these to put yourself in a better position to win that listing. So research the listing, right? Analyze what factors may have contributed to listing expiring. Use this information, right, in your letter. So if you guys are going to be, calling, of course, you're going to use that information in that phone call. If you're sending out letters, marketing materials, you leverage it in your letters and your marketing material, as well as why that property potentially didn't sell. And always be careful, of course, not to talk bad about the other agent. Critique their work, not the agents. Make sure you're focused on what the agent didn't do, not talking bad about the agent themselves, as could be a character flaw. Okay. And analyze the marketing, right? So was a sign used to advertise the property? Professional photographers, and these are questions you could be asking to the seller as well. Video, virtual tour, single property website, online syndication, of course, social media, advertising, marketing goes along with all of this. So identify what marketing was done, what wasn't done, and that's where you're going to, again, those are going to be the openings for you to share what you do to market properties. A couple of other things to ask yourself as well. Was there a lockbox? Were there showing restrictions? Description showcasing the features and amenities of the property? Any errors in data entry? Financing or terms offered? Where is there an area where offering certain incentives financing incentives. We're talking about, seller buying down the interest rate possibly. So you can look at all of those things to see what was offered in the MLS that possibly would have put that property in a better light. Confirm expiration. So I used to go in and look at the history real quick on the listings. Now, a lot of agents are just blasting through the phone to make sure they get, they get a hold of the seller before other agents, or at least within the first few. Never a bad idea to look at the history real quick if you have an opportunity and just see what happened with that listing. Ultimately, was it withdrawn conditionally? A lot of sellers will actually withdraw their listing 3 months ahead of time, 2 months ahead of time, 6 months ahead of time, because they're done. They don't want to sell any longer and they've now rented the property out. And so that always helped me have better conversations, right? Not to say that you can't overcome that, if you're just randomly calling, but a lot of times I was able to reach out and say, hi, I noticed that I noticed that you pulled your home off the market 3 months ago and it just, the contract just expired. Are you still thinking about selling, right? Are you, what changed with you 3 months ago, and what does it look like for you in the future? Are you potentially looking at selling the property down the road if you've now rented it out or leased the property out? So I'd always just really do a quick confirmation of where that expired was at, and whether or not it was back active, right? We know a lot of times they'll expire and go right back active as well. Again, you'll make the determination on this, whether or not you're just going to go through the list and call, and you'll get this answered and addressed as you're talking with them. You're probably going to hear the seller say, you're going to say it came off the market today, or other agents as well. And they're going to say, no, I pulled my property off the market, months ago. And that's because they withdrew it conditionally, right? Or it's back active, and you're going to hear them say, you know what, I've already relisted it. And you're going to ask, is it back active? Have you already signed the contract? We'll go over a little bit more of the scripts as well. So MLS history, price reductions, was the listing overpriced? It's good to see if they, went through a series of price reductions, and if they ultimately expired the listing right after they did a price reduction. It may not be overpriced, or that, far overpriced if they did a price reduction, but they just didn't have time to market the property and that listing expired, right? So they might have done a price reduction a week before or a few days before that listing expired, and they no longer want to list with that agent. And perfect opportunity that you possibly have a well-priced listing. It just didn't have time to get marketed to the public. All right. So let's talk about best ways to contact expires. I'll share what I leverage and what works for me. And again, the phone call, the script, there's an expired script that a little screenshot here. What I always looked at was, what could I say differently than the other agents? Because what I found, what you find is everybody thinks you're in the same school, right? They think you're going through the same, you're all in the same room. Right. For your old school agents, Mike Ferry, right? The name Mike Ferry, we're all in the same room. We all have the same script. So I always look for different ways to get a yes from that potential seller. And one of the things that works really well for me is when I call and I ask, is your property still available for sale? And they would usually say yes. Even though it was off the market, they would say yes, because they were just on the market. And they think I'm calling because I potentially have a buyer for their home. So I would call, hi, Miss Smith, Mr. Smith, this is Damon Caldwell with Realty One Group. I'm calling to see if your home's still available for sale. And yes, it is. And great. Then I would go into, I noticed that it came off the market yesterday. I wouldn't say expired. People are sensitive to, that kind of, you're kind of a negative connotation that their home didn't sell. So I just say came off the market. When are you planning on interviewing an agent, the right agent for the job of selling your home? And then I'd go into the script with them, and we can go through that script right here. I don't know if you guys see that, or I can if I need to bring it up on a bigger screen, Justin, but. So let's go through some of the questions. We'll go through the scripts, and we'll go back to other ways of connecting with them. But so if you sold this home, where would you go next? Right? Tonality. Getting into some of the more details of talking with the expired listing is tonality is very important. You have to have down tones with your scripts, not uptones. Otherwise, you're very irritating, very salesy. And so you want to be sincere. You want them to know that you actually are listening, that you care. So if you sold this home, where would you go next? So, and I always ask, this is the other thing that I added to my script that you don't see in this little template is, if you don't mind me asking. I always asked, if you don't mind me asking, when you ask somebody a personal question and they don't know you, right? A lot of times they whether they hang up on you or say it's none of your business. That actually happened to me very early days. And so I started asking, if you don't mind me asking. So if you don't mind me asking, if you sold this home, where would you go next? And make this a conversation, right? Not, you got to internalize, these scripts so you can have a conversation with them. And engage them and let them know that you're listening, that you care. So, Florida, how exciting, what's taking you to Florida, right? And based on their answer, again, that conversation. So how soon do you have to be there? Right? Next month. Wow. Next month. That's pretty soon. Mr. Smith, what do you think stopped your home from selling? Well, the market or the agent or whatever the condition, right? You're going to address that lightly and, okay, I understand. How'd you happen to choose the agent you listed with? Right? Referral, postcard, whatever it might be. Okay, terrific. What did Mr. Johnson, what did that agent do that you liked best? They did some open houses. Okay, so they did some open houses. Did you get the results of those open houses? Right? Did they give you the feedback from the open houses? Terrific. So what do you feel they should have done? Right? What do you feel they should have done? Or what more should they have done? More marketing. They didn't really update me on a weekly basis. You'll hear all of this stuff, right? I understand. So what will you expect from the next agent you choose? Right? To market my home, sell my home, whatever the answer is. It's the basic script, of course. So have you already chosen the agent to work with? No, not yet. Wonderful. So number 9 really is where you get to put in your successes. Now, if you're seasoned agent, you're selling a lot of homes in the community, they don't have to be expired. You can share that and say, I've sold 10 homes in the last 30 days or 60 days, whatever it might be. I'd love to show you how I get my listing sold. When would be a good time for us to get together? How's tonight at 5 p.m. or tomorrow at 5 p.m. So number 9 is a plug and play based on your success. As a newer agent, of course, if you're on this call, we leverage the company Realty One Group and say, hey, we've sold 15 homes or 20 homes in the neighborhood community, right? And make sure that that's your evidence of success, if you will, right? Evidence of success that you actually are selling homes. Right? So leverage a company, if not you. If you guys do sell expireds already, that's a great, say I've sold 10 expired listings in the last 6 months or in the last 5 months or 2 months, whatever it might be. So that's that fill in right there. And then of course, setting the appointments to go out and meet with them. And so phone call scripts, email campaigns, if you can get their email, if you do connect with them on the phone, see if you can get their email to send them some information, right? Your marketing package, your letter that can go out with that marketing package as well. I got an example here that I really used to leverage. Okay. Worked very well, right? In fact, back in several years ago, I was mailing about 1,000 to 1,500 expireds a month. Okay, and I was listing about 4 or 5 listings a month, expired listings a month, right? With expired, so I was selling over 30, almost 30 expired listings a year from just mailing. I wasn't even calling at that point in time. Right. So that's another thing we'll talk about here, marketing campaign, but email campaigns, right? If you can get them on the phone, get their email and say, I'd love to send you some additional information about what I do to get homes sold, and get their email. Mailing campaign. So I'd immediately send out a marketing packet to the expireds every day, right? They would get it in the mail. I would call first. I'll go over the plan at the very end here. What I do. Phone call, email campaigns, mailing campaign, marketing material, door knocking. So at the end of the day, I would leave the office and I would go map out a route on the way home, and I would actually go door knock a marketing packet. If I can talk to them, great. If I couldn't, I would leave it at their doorstep to get an opportunity to talk with them at a future date. And of course, if you can connect with them on social media, right? And, start communicating with them on social media as well. In today's world, social media is a great opportunity as well. So I had a wonderful marketing packet. It's about 12 pages thick. I dumbed it down over the years, but it had the letter, it had everything about the company, right? The status of Realty One Group, marketing stats, all that good stuff. It had all my marketing that I did to sell a property. It had the evidence of success, which is probably the most important. And you guys, if you've seen some people's marketing, evidence of success is the tried and true of it's proven, right? So what I had is a one pager, and it had about 20 to 25 expired listings that expired with other companies. And so it was expired with ABC Realty, sold by us within a certain amount of time frame, right? Days on market, and at or above list price. So usually everything was above list price, if not within 1% of list price. So I had that line item. And I'll actually, if you guys don't mind, if I can bring that up, Justin, I'll see here. Oh. Let me see if I can find it now. Where did it go? That's the script. Let me get back to. What do I do with it here? Let me go here. Sorry about this, if you guys don't mind.
I just want to applaud the organization. You've got folders for everything, man. I love it.
Oh, yeah. It's all good. So this is an expired packet actually that went out. I dumbed it down over the years, but this is actually still a very relevant letter that you can use with Realty One Group. This thing worked amazing for me. I was getting, come list me calls or expired calls, all the time when I'd mail this out. Now this needs to be updated. So, forgive me for that. I haven't went in, I haven't mailed expireds as of recent, but this was that evidence of success. If you guys have the ability to go into your MLS, now these weren't my solds, all right? What I did is I spent a little bit of time and I went into our MLS and I pulled homes that Realty One Group had sold, right? Brokerage sold. And I went into the history of the property. Right. And this was just I sat for, couple hours and just went in through the properties that we sold and real quick went into history and seeing if it expired at any time with another brokerage. And I started building this list. Now this list does not have to be 20 deep. It could be 5 properties just packaged a little bit differently, right? You can have a photo of the home, sold by us. So a little bit more aesthetically pleasing, if you will. If you only had 5, 3 or 4 or 5, it's an evidence of success. It really is the final determination that somebody will use to say, it's like a testimonial, right? Are you the person I should be talking to? And wow, it looks like it's working. So let me call you. So this worked, amazingly for me. And then of course the market stats for Realty One Group, the market share, the check and compare the guaranteed marketing services. Now, again, this needs to be updated, but you'll put together your marketing strategies and create a comparison, right? With other brokerages, and you don't have to name the brokerages, but it just gives you that seller that confidence that you're marketing, their property well beyond what most others are doing. Right. So that was the marketing package that I used that worked really well. Let me get back to Zoom here. And where'd that go? Here. All right. All right. And so that was the marketing package, evidence of success. And let's see here. So this is the best practices to win expired listings. Right. What I teach a farming class as well, and I killed it in farming as well. So I was a listing agent. I was a listing agent as a brand new agent, focused on all seller activities. Expireds was the first, farming, geographic farming was the second. And so for an agent that wants to jump into expireds, I think if you're farming a community or you want to start farming a community, it's a no-brainer, right? That you start in your farm. Okay, there's a few different scripts that we use in our farm areas for expireds. We have an open house script that we use, and it basically goes, knock, 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 or ring, ring, ring. Right? Mr. Johnson, we're stopping by. We're doing an open house, this weekend on our listing over here at 123 Elm Street, and wanted to stop by, come out to the community and invite everybody to the open house. Right? Would love to know if you know of anybody thinking about buying a home in the neighborhood. Would love to have you send them the information or send them my information. I'd be happy to, show them the property, right? Have them come by the open house as well. Right. So that's the initial part of that script. The next part of that script is, by the way, I specialize in the area in researching the community. I noticed that your home came off the market yesterday, a week ago, a month ago, whatever time frame, right? And wanted to know if you're still considering selling your home. And the reason I ask is I would love to share your property with the people that come through my open house. I keep a list of off-market properties that I share with them, and usually it's a lot of times they're very interested in the properties that aren't on the market, given that we're short on inventory right now. Would it be okay to promote your property at my open house? Great conversation. If they say yes, right, that they're still thinking about selling, the next part of that script, you go back to the listing script and say, well, let me ask, if you don't mind me asking, or when are you planning on interviewing agents, to get your home sold? I would love to be a part of that interview process, right? And show you what I do to get a home sold. So that's a great little open house script for open house for expired. So, think outside the box on how you can connect with expireds outside of just the random call. If you're farming, right, you're in the area, you're doing open houses, you're probably mailing postcards or, doing things out in the market, door dropping, door knocking, all that good stuff. And I used to pick up expired listings as well as FSBOs just from farming, because they see you out in the market and you can have better conversations with them, different conversations instead of just over the phone, a random call. You can talk to them about, you specialize in the area, the area, you've sold homes there, you hold open houses there. So I think starting your area of specialization is a real easy and efficient way, right? Maybe even an inspiring way to start with expired. So, because a lot of agents will start with expireds and they'll stop, after their first objection or their first, kind of negative phone call, if you will. Start in your farm and start owning the expireds, even FSBOs, for sale by owners in your farm. Great way to start. By the way, they're getting all your marketing material, everything you're doing in that farm as well. Right? Know your market, of course. So if, again, community focused, if you know the market and the community, better than anybody else, that's a great way to leverage or get in front of an expired listing to get them to believe, build their confidence in you. Know your stats, company stats. You definitely want to know the company stats. That's part of your marketing package. Your stats as well, right? And again, if you don't have a lot of stats yet, then the word "we" is used quite often. Know your value proposition. This is another thing. Know not only what you bring to the table as an individual or as an agent. Know everything that your company does to help you market. And that's one thing I love about Realty One Group is if you guys grab their listing presentation, right, and all the marketing, you guys, if you're in the back office, the one login, all that, it's just a myriad of resources. But more important than anything is I always, from day one, even before when I first started my career with my first brokerage, I knew exactly what all of the tools and resources did for the consumer, right? It has to benefit them. So when we talk about Realty One Group doing international marketing on our listings, that's huge, right? Realty One Group syndicates your listing to nearly 100 international websites and nearly 60 countries. That's pretty powerful, and that should be in your marketing or your value proposition, your marketing material to these expired listings. And this is where you start outpacing some of your normal or average agents out there, because we just do so much more for the consumer, right? So please, if anything, learn exactly what Realty One Group does to market. And of course, add the icing on the cake, everything that you're doing social media wise. If you're doing, amazing videos, things of that nature, that's all going to benefit you and be a part of that value proposition. Get it on a flyer, get it part of your marketing package. and start getting it out in the hands of the expired listing. Know your scripts, right? So you have to, this is important. You have to know your scripts. Now you can rely on marketing and as I did for a period of time, and just meld out a very strong marketing package, and the phone would ring and I'd say, yes, I'd like to meet with you. Perfect. The reality of it is I would highly recommend, doubling up or tripling up on your efforts. Don't just mail, call, try to get a hold of them, schedule an appointment. The beauty about expired listings for me is you start learning that there's multiple different tiers of expireds. And in other words, or types of expireds. There's the expired listing that's going to say, no, I'm not interested anymore. I'm not selling anymore. Whether they are or not, they tell you no. There's a one that's right out in the open, says, yes, we're interviewing. I used to love that. I mean, if you at all just connect with expireds, you're going to have a handful of people that say, yes, I'm interviewing. And the only thing you need to do is be a part of that interview process and say, wonderful. When can we get together, tonight or tomorrow? I would love to show you the marketing that I leverage to get home sold, right? I have a 98 or 100% track record. Once you start building that, if you have that record right now, you can leverage it. With me, I started building that success and I was able to leverage that in my scripts. And I got to a point where I was saying, listen, you're going to do yourself an injustice if you don't meet with me, right? This is what I do. I specialize in expired listings and I can get your home sold, right? So know your scripts, know how to get to the appointment. You have to learn the objection handlers where there's a lot of tools and resources out there for objections. I'm not going to go over all of them with you here today. RedX has an amazing package that I share with the team on scripts and objection handling. There's all kinds of them out there in the internet space, right? Know how to close for the appointment. You have to, this is another place where don't give up, don't pull back. You'll get the appointments. You have to overcome objections to get the appointment. That's where handling those objections and getting them to a yes is hugely important because they're going to say yes to somebody, right? It just needs to be you. They're going to say yes to somebody. It's just going to be the person that's able to take them to that next level to say yes, to set an appointment with them. So expireds are great to, if you master those first few and you start getting appointments, it's a no-brainer that you have to have a slam dunk listing presentation, right? Because now you're competing. And this probably helped me sharpen my skills more than anything. As a new agent focused on expired listings, I had to double up on everything, including my listing presentation. So I don't remember an appointment that I went on that I didn't come back to the office and if I went on a listing appointment, 98, 99% of the time I got it. It was rare that I didn't get the listing, right? But I would still go back to the office and say, okay, what could have been better? What could have flowed smoother? What do I need to add for the next one to ensure that I get the next one, right? What marketing piece, what stats, right? So I just would never stop thinking outside the box to make sure that my presentation had everything that it possibly could have to where there's nothing missed. And a lot of times you learn what's missed by not getting that listing, right? And I always call the seller and ask them, hey, what was it that made you choose or that made you not choose me? And let them tell you, and then take that and, enhance whatever it is that you need to enhance. Okay. But have an amazing listing presentation. Start practicing that now because that's the second part of expired. You can get the appointments, but you get out to the listing and presentation and you're competing now. This isn't like a referral. And I know a lot of seasoned agents say, hey, I do business by referral. I don't even have a listing presentation. I take a CMA and show them the numbers and they say, okay, let's get going. I have those conversations all the time as well. I just always had a listing presentation still today, believe in listing presentations. That way there's never anything to chance. All right. Identify why sellers feel the listing did not sell, right? That's that conversation again. So you can key in on those key points to make sure they start feeling confident in you being able to address those concerns and show how their experience with you will be different, right? And that's all part of that script, that process, or marketing piece that you're going to be sending out to make sure that you have a chance to get in there. All right. Let me see here. So this was my action plan, okay, that I leveraged quite on a regular daily basis, right? Was You guys can add stuff to this, right? The social media aspect of it, QR codes, marketing in your marketing packets, taking them back to your websites, for a property evaluation, things of that nature. But my normal day-to-day process was show up at the office at 7 a.m., start practicing my scripts, 7:30-ish, start getting on the phone, and between 7:30, 8 o'clock, start getting on the phone. Again, using that expired script. Number one focus was to get an appointment, to go out and meet with them. That was ultimately the number one focus, was to get an appointment. If no appointments, you can still ask to preview the property to add to your inventory for buyers. Remember that off-market property list. Hey, I understand, if anything, I specialize in the area. I do a lot of open houses in the area. Would it be okay to preview the property so I can add it to my inventory for my buyers? All right. Again, that's a way to get the foot in the door, have a further conversation with them face to face. Send the home selling proposal or pre-listing packet. So if you guys have that already done, Realty One Group provides several of these tools already. Customize them, have them ready to go out in the mail and or to be door dropped to that listing. Even if you get an appointment, I would still highly recommend, if it's not the following day or 2 days later, send them your information. Doesn't hurt. Even if it's a day later, send them, hey, I'm going to send you my listing packet, right, for your review. Please let me know if you have any questions. We'll go over it when I see you tomorrow at 5 p.m. or the next day. Okay. So that was important. In fact, that's how I got my first listing. The listing, they weren't meeting for 2 months. They were going to start interviewing agents. After it expired 2 months later, I sent them my home selling proposal and just followed up with them, got the opportunity to meet with them, and ended up winning the listing. They met with a couple of different agents. I remember them telling me they met with a 15-year veteran, and I won the listing because they felt I was highly motivated to get their home sold. And so for you new agents, don't look past, your own personal value proposition, right? If you're motivated, if you're a go-getter, that's a lot of times, what's going to help you win that listing, because the seller feels that you're going to give them the attention and the time and energy to get their home sold. I send a letter if no answer, right? So send the letter. So that would be automatic. I would send the marketing packet with company resources, marketing, strategies and all that good stuff, and that evidence of success, right? Or the company's evidence of success. Then I would go at the end of the day, right after all was said and done, I finished up my other lead follow-up, right? My other prospecting. I'd leave the office about 4:30-ish and go out and start door knocking homes on the way home. And I would leave a marketing package. And I'd see other people's other agents' marketing packages there. Had mine taken a couple of times, right? From, calling the seller and saying, hey, did you get my marketing package? No, there's nothing on my front door. But there was a marketing package in my house, which means the agent accessed their home and took everybody else's packet and put theirs in the home. So just, kind of funny stuff there, right? But door knock homes in your area. So provide the marketing packet, see if you can't get an appointment, face to face. If no answer, leave it at the door. Now, a lot of agents will use, a FedEx package, UPS package, something that makes it look, important, of course. Don't know, right or wrong in that. Just that's, what a lot of agents will do to make it look like an important, package. Call in the evening. So I would get home then and I would call for another hour, right? Because there's people in the morning that did not answer their phone. And so I would get home and start calling for another hour to connect with the people that didn't answer earlier. And that worked very well, by the way. A lot of people were home at that point in time and was able to connect with the people that I didn't connect with earlier. And then I'd follow the same protocol as above, of course, focus on getting the appointment, follow up with them, mail them a marketing package if need be, and go from there. And then from there, it's, set a reminder to call every day in the first week until contacted. So this is where your email, if you can get their email address and set up an email campaign, to stay in front of them, send them your information. That's great as well. Otherwise, you're calling through the next couple of weeks, month, to see if you can't get an appointment if they haven't relisted the property yet. Right? Mail a personal note with business card offering assistance, right? If not listed after a week. You can do much more than this. There's several different campaigns out there, email campaigns. We provide one to our agents that has a lot of different things in it. You can be emailing them a personal note, additional marketing resources, success stories, things of that nature as well. Right? If not listed after 2 weeks, you'll go back and door knock, go back to the door and see if you can't get a hold of them at their doorstep. I want to say, I know this is, probably faster than expected, but I want to say that's pretty much my plan. I'd love to, have anybody else suggestion or, share, or Justin, whatever you guys,
Yeah. No, awesome. I mean, literally, the detail and process, guys. I mean, Damon just laid out the exact process that you can implement into your business. So I'd love to open it up to Q&A if anyone has any questions for Damon. Pick his brain. This is the time to dive in. Do we have any questions you want to throw in the chat box? You can unmute yourself.
Michelle Dugan says she's expired and canceled. I'd love to hear her success stories. How's everything going with you? Michael, I'm sorry, Michael, not Michelle, Michael Dugan.
Oh,
I actually
Michael
know,
Dugan.
I know Michelle Dugan. That's why it looked like that to me, but.
Well, basically, I do a lot of this. It's not necessarily in the same order.
Okay.
Now, some of the stuff I don't do, but having a strong rapport skills and being able to talk to people, and it's not that you don't take no for an answer, but you just learn how to handle objections after a period of time. And typically, I start my phone calls for both expires and canceled by just telling them, hey, I noticed there was a change in the status of your property on our MLS. I'd like to discuss that with you. And, that's when you get into, they will start telling you, what it is. But a lot of those questions, asking what the previous agent did and didn't do, what they liked, didn't like. I mean, those are all very, very good ways to just build rapport and build a relationship with the people that you're talking to.
Yeah, 100%, Michael, for sure. And again, the tonality, guys, the sincerity is really what helped me a lot. You don't want to be a robot. You don't want it to sound scripted. You genuinely, and I genuinely did, when you start doing this, if you focus on expireds, you go from a mindset of, this happened for me, that you go from a mindset of trying to get a listing, right? I need to get a listing, to where you truly start believing that they need your help. And that was really a mindset shift for me, was that when I called expireds, because I was having success with them. And I know sometimes for many of us, the proof is in the pudding, right? You start having success and you start owning it. When I started having success, this could be after your first expired listing. After you sell your first one, your confidence level just jumps, right? And so when I started calling, it was, listen, you need my help. And so that sincerity comes out, that the tonality, the commitment, the listening, the care. And so that really helps, because that's what a lot of these people aren't getting. They're getting just a lot of robots calling, trying to list their home. So the better you can connect with them, and as Michael said, build that rapport with them in a good conversation. A lot of times, again, the expires, you're going to go through some negatives. There's no question. You're not going to get everybody's not going to say, hey, yes, come and meet with me. But I loved expires, because there's people that were saying, hey, we're scheduling appointments. Wonderful. Right? When can I get over there? How's tomorrow at 5? The next question is, do you want to be first or last? Right? Well, I've been on the receiving end of a call that says, hey, Damon, met with the Johnsons. They went ahead and listed already. I'm just calling all the other agents to let them know that, they're canceling your appointment. And I've made that call to other agents. Okay. Hey, Bob, Damon Caldwell here. I know you have an appointment scheduled with the Johnsons. Well, I just listed their home. And so as a courtesy, I told them I'd reach out to you to let them know that they no longer need to meet with you. So I think first, for me, it was being first. If you're strong, possibly have a chance of getting them to sign a contract, versus waiting to be last and getting that call. All right.
I love it. Yeah, Michael, I love that intro. I think that's a nice intro, and a low, not aggressive, right? Coming in with that. And like you said, Damon, that tonality is so important. I just want to call out, I know that you had a couple different platforms on here, but RedX for me in the past, and just the data that we pull from them currently, is awesome. Love that platform. And like Damon said, it's good if you're going to commit to this, commit to a platform that you have logins for, that you can leave notes on, that you can, it's almost acting as like your expired CRM.
CRM, absolutely.
Yeah, a lot of them connect with like a dialer and all that kind of stuff. So if you are going to commit to having expired listings as part of your prospecting plan, definitely look at subscribing to it. And RedX, in my opinion, is relatively low compared to a lot of the other ones out there, but it's really good data. They've got some great data.
Yeah, for sure. No, that, yeah, Reddit, I use that for our team, and it does have great data, and, you know, it's just a matter of, you know, doing the work really. But
Yeah.
the only thing I would, don't like what you said there, Justin, was the word if. So,
Yeah,
you know, we can't afford right now to say if, we just need to do it. Right.
absolutely.
That's
Yeah.
that's the aggressive side of me. But anyways,
It's
no, I
good.
would,
And don't give up, right? If
well,
like you were saying, you know, you're going to have some no's in there. Don't let that discourage you, because that's one no away from that next yes. And once you have that first win, we've experienced this in many areas of our life. Once you get a win, your confidence level just goes through the roof. And you're like, all right, it's game on. It works. It actually works. And so I think just being consistent with it and getting to that first win is monumental.
yeah, and just to repeat, you know, for you guys that don't do expireds, you know, if you're in a community, right? If you're specialized in the community, start there. I mean, just so many better conversations, right? To have with people that are in your community that need your help, right? Whether it's again expireds, withdrawals. Now, you know, I did withdrawals as well as part of my plan, and treated them very similar to expireds and for sale by owners. But man, starting in your community, it just, you have ownership, right? You have ownership in your community versus just randomly calling, which is huge, because you're inspired, right? And you want to help these people, and you want to take ownership of that community, and then it can just, you know, become whatever you want it to become. But start there if you have any hesitation at all, and get out and start talking to the people in your community that need your help. I think Aubrey had a question or
I just
raiser.
wanted to compliment you because I think it's an excellent presentation. I am new to Realty One in Kingman, Arizona, and I came
Love
from
it.
California. I've been in practice there for about 30 years. So a brief time, I've only been agent here, but I think it's great advice because during the last 3 years where there's been COVID and people did not really embrace the farming and the community, it's like you could get a listing in the morning and sell it by afternoon. Okay. And it's a whole different practice. But now, agents like myself, you're used to that. This is not abnormal to develop that. And I'm very lucky in the community that I live in. We have half-acre parcels of block wall and really nice small ranches here in a tract environment. Very, very nice. And I'm excited to go into that market, and not just for the listings, but I live there, and there's about 700 homes, and many of these people have never had someone contact them because the market has been so fast. No need to send a letter out. It's going to sell in an hour, right?
100%.
I'm being facetious, but there are great opportunities for people to go out and you enter with you approach them with an expired, but you send to everyone, and then you call it not your own, but in your farm, you can be very strong because there isn't a lot of competition with this right now in many areas.
I'll tell you, I just launched my own farming program to share with the team, and I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, now more than ever, everybody on this, you know, and you guys might already be knocking it dead, but now more than ever, with, you know, changes coming, as we know, in real estate and all that good stuff. I mean, we can't afford not to be marketing and lead generating, you know, in our communities and, you know, our sphere and all that stuff to, you know, to stay relevant. And so, you know, that expires is a big part of that, you know, being relevant and, you know, getting your share or your unfair share of the market. Very important right now. As we know, listings have always been, you know, list to last, listing agents control the market. Yeah, I think that's going to be even more so, you know, come August 17th, you know, when this settlement, you know, is put in place. You know, we all should have a balanced business. And that's really my message to my agents on my team is, don't, be a sitting duck, balance your business out right now and have a certain market share of listings. And that way you're always in business. You're always going to have business, versus waiting for, somebody to call you or waiting on the sidelines. So, very important. I love that you shared that.
Yes, and we want to be the compassionate go-to. We want to be the first person because there hasn't been competition in that area. And if you put your foot there and say, this is
Yep.
I want to be a compassionate agent. I just don't want to get a listing because I think that's sometimes the mood since people have been used to just getting listings very easily.
Yeah.
You got to do it from another angle and give them a little bit more time because it's not, their listing isn't going to sell overnight like it used to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, thank
Good
you.
stuff. Yeah.
Thank you.
Anybody else have anything for the greater good or?
I have a question.
Anything else,
Danny.
guys?
Yes, sir.
I was going to ask, you talked about these platforms where you can get these list of expireds even on a daily basis, but also talked about the importance of doing your research on that individual property to have as much information as you can before talking to that seller. Do any of these platforms have like a countdown to expired? Like it's a week away from expiring, it's a day away from expiring, so you could do the research?
They won't have that because then you'd be in violation of your MLS, at least in Las Vegas, right? I don't want to speak for every MLS, but to publish a listing that's going to be expiring in a week, that seller would get pounded on. You'd have agents doing all kinds of silly stuff, to get that listing before it expired. So we're not allowed to see that data in our market.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Like I said, I was just curious because you talked about wanting to be the first or in the first couple of people they talk to, but you also want to have the knowledge of that property and maybe what has happened to it or what has led to them expiring or removing it from the market.
Yeah, I did a real quick search, just had the MLS up. And as I was going through my list calling, I would just go to the listing real quick in the MLS history, scan it real quick and make the call. You don't have to do that. Some agents will just rely on that conversation and that conversation will take shape. So you can try it, both ways and see what works for you, right? I mean, ultimately you're still going to get to the same place. The other way, you're just a little bit more knowledgeable. And sometimes it's much more appreciated when you can have that conversation. Say, hey, I noticed that you took your home off the market 3 months ago, withdrew it. Okay. Versus, hey, your home came off the market today. And the seller says, no, we took it off the market. Why are we getting all these calls? We took it off the market 3 months ago. What's going on? Right. That's the only difference, but it's going to, you can massage that. The other thing I didn't cover or didn't really share is go back a year, 6 months or a year. Very important with this RedX, Vulcan 7, any of these platforms, there should be really a double up on this, which is, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. You can go and do the, 6 months ago. So if you wanted to really have a plan of attack, a daily plan of attack, you could actually go back 6 months, a year back, start calling expireds from back when. Call the ones for today first. This is what I teach my agents. Call the ones for today first. Very important. You're one of the first people to get in touch with the people today. But then for your next 2 or 3 hours, remember, we're prospecting 2 or 3 hours. Have your list. If you're leveraging your CRM or RedX's CRM, whatever, go in there and start reaching people that last week, 2 weeks ago, a month ago, 6 months ago. If they haven't relisted, what another great opportunity to have a conversation. Say, listen, I noticed that you were selling your home or trying to sell your home 6 months ago. Has anything changed, right? Our market has changed. Property values have increased. It's possible you can get what you were looking for back then today. So knowing your market's very important as well. But when you go back in time, you have a little bit more time, right? It's not that feverish call today. It's you can go do a little bit of research real quick on that property on those people from 6 months, a year ago, and call through. But you can make really expireds a really good 2 or 3 hour prospecting, time in your day to day by going back in, and now you're following up with these people. And guess what, agents? This is the reality. What percentage of agents really follow up with leads past the first month? Right. About 10% maybe will follow up. Okay. And that's where you guys, if you can get in and start following up with these people, and at one point in time, you're the only one standing and they're ready to list their home. what another great opportunity for you to pick up expireds there as well, outside of just the ones you're calling today. So you can actually make this a real lucrative business for yourself by just, thinking outside the box and staying in touch with these people over a period of time. So when they're ready to pull the trigger, right, you're the person in front of them. So that's another thing I didn't cover on there. Sorry, I didn't cover it before a few people got off, but all good. And that marketing material, you guys want to, make sure you get that done and get that out. That's a big part of it as well. The marketing, your marketing strategies and getting that in front of potential sellers. So they can see what you're going to do to get their home sold.
Love it. Amazing stuff, guys. Any other last questions real quick?
Well, I just wanted to make a comment. If you got a farm area that you're in, when a listing is taken, we know that they're typically 6 months in length. So at 5 months, 2 weeks, if it's still on the market, then you can start getting ready to send it out on that day that it expires.
Michael, I forgot to say, I had that on the tip of my tongue before I started talking about going back in time. And I was going to say exactly what you said. Thank you for sharing that, because that is true that, most listings are 6 months. And if you go in the MLS, I remember back in the day, there was agents, and this is kind of outside the box stuff, that they would go back and about a week before they thought that listing was going to expire, they would actually they would pull another agent with them to go show the home, like they had a buyer for that property. About a week or two before it was supposedly going to expire. And they say, here's my card. We potentially have a buyer. Because what the seller would do is when they expired, they would usually call the agents that potentially had a buyer and say, hey, I just wanted to know if if your buyer was still interested. So people can think outside the box. But Michael, thank you for sharing that, because that's a great way. Go in and research to see, when that 6 month mark might be, and you can start actually. Now you got to be careful. You don't want to violate any MLS rules, right? You can't start, trying to solicit a listing. That's the important as well. You can't solicit, but you can be ready, right, to solicit them once it expires. All right, that's important as well. So great, great share on that one, Michael. You guys, thanks so much. Thanks for letting me share. I know it's not earth-shattering stuff. It's really a commitment, you guys, on you. It's a great listing opportunity. It was for me, and still is. A lot of our agents on our team are leveraging it as well. And so I wish you guys all the best and good luck to you. Now's the time, going into the summer months in Las Vegas, at least. We're going to start, things are going to start shaking loose a little bit, and we just want to be in front of as many people as possible.
Absolutely.
Hey-
Tim, did you want to
hey,
jump
Justin.
in?
Hey, Justin. Yeah, I'm sorry, gang. I was in and out, but I've had the pleasure of sitting through Mr. Caldwell's expired listing presentation many times. This thing works. You just have to do it like anything else. And I think what Damon said, something that's really important. I see a lot of agents, they'll spend the money on Vulcan 7 and Red X, and they'll get all this stuff set up, and to make that first phone call, they're shivering in their boots, and they're going to stumble. You're going to stutter. You're going to sound like Elmer Fudd, but just make the friggin' phone call and try to do it in a quiet place, put on a little headset, stand up, and you'll be amazed the results you're going to get. But you really just got to make the commitment to do it, and it works. So
Love it.
that's my 2 cents.
Well, thank you, Rock Title. You guys rock, of course.
Thank
and
you.
Well, thank you, Jocelyn, Justin, guys. Thanks for everybody that chimed in. You guys, good luck to you, and have a great rest of your week.
Thank you, Damon. We appreciate you so much, and just taking your time today to be with us and share all your knowledge and stuff. So we really, really appreciate you. Everyone, thank you so much for joining today. We'll see you guys in the next training. Go to rockuniversity.com to register for those. We will get that video up on our YouTube channel within the next 24 hours. And we will see you all in escrow very, very soon. Thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of your week.
Too.